Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Bobby Reese. I'm with Sunbelt Business Advisors here in Charleston, and I'd like to welcome everyone to Studio 1A at AgentOwned, high atop Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Today I'm going to make a presentation to you about the AgentOwned Realty Company, Sunbelt Business Advisors Business Brokerage Alliance. And I think we're at the title page, and you'll see a picture of me, and you'll see me live moving my lips. So most of what I'm going to present to you today is written on the following, I guess, 8 or 9, maybe 10 slides. So you'll have a record of everything I say. And the purpose of this is to start at the beginning. This began back in 2009. It was conceived by Lisa Lodeholt, and it has now come to fruition, and we have been allied together since April of 2009. So I'd like to start at the beginning because I have no way of knowing how many of you actually are aware of this, of our alliance. And since it's been such a long time since we've discussed this, I can refresh everyone's memory. And toward the end of the presentation, I will also tell you about a new project that we have underway within the last month. And it'll give you an idea of how we're trying to expand our services, mutually expand our service, and react to kind of a crazy marketplace, both business brokerage as well as real estate. So let me begin. I'd like to tell you about the mission statement. And our mutual mission is to grow each company's markets and profits via our combined expertise, and to increase our seller-buyer referrals, our listings, and our sales. Now, to increase the seller-buyer referrals, listing, and sales, that is primarily what the agent owners bring to Sunbelt. There may be times when we can refer homeowners or home buyers to you and home listers to you, but primarily I don't want to say it's a one-way street, but the majority of the activity is directed towards business brokerage. We also want to provide you, the agents, with additional ways to grow your commission. That is a better way, a new way for you to make more money, put money in the bank account. And by doing that, we bring you to the business-to-sell marketplace, and that's where our expertise is. And of course, thirdly, it also provides us potential sellers and buyers. Sellers, of course, are our listers, and it gives us a chance to grow our business and also grow our commission earnings and make money as well. So in a statement, I like to think, working together, everyone eats. So that's our mission statement. I kind of touched on this briefly about the beginning of this alliance. Like I said, it started in April 2009. It was Lisa's idea. The AgentOwned interviewed a number of local business brokerage firms. But because Sunbelt is in the leadership position in the business brokerage field and industry, and that we have such a great experience over 30 years, we were selected to be the partner. I can tell you that this is another first for AgentOwned because when this started in April 2009, I don't believe there was any other real estate company who had a direct relationship with a business broker partner like AgentOwned does. I have since learned that some people have copied our model and are trying to do the same thing. So, you know, what do you call it? Yeah. Liz is over here mouthing, copycat's the best form of flattery. Absolutely. Thank you, Liz. So, like I said, it began in April of 2009. Like any other new alliance, there's a shakedown period. So after a 6-month trial period, it was decided by Liz Boyd, Lisa, and Ed Pendarvis that the best way for us to continue and to give you direct service was to assign a broker to one of the agent-owned offices, and I missed the meeting that day, so I got the assignment. Let me give you a little background about myself, because I am your broker in residence. My name, of course, is Bobby Reese. I have an office here at 824 Johnny Dodds Boulevard. My wife Peggy and I, and Peggy is an agent-owned owner. I retired and we moved to Mount Pleasant at the end of 2003. Prior to that time, I was a Washington representative for business. Well, I said Washington, but in Washington, D.C., and I was a representative before the federal government, both Congress, the executive branch, all the departments, agencies, including Department of Treasury, Internal Revenue Service, ATF, and others. So I spent my formative years in Washington, D.C. as a registered lobbyist. We had our rules and regulations that we had to adhere to, so we had to register our affiliations. So that's enough about me. Now I'd like to tell you how this plan or this alliance works for you, and it's simple. You must contact me with any business seller or business buyer leads. My job is to follow up on those leads. If it's a seller, of course, that is a potential listing for us, and that's a business seller. Now, let me put the word out there. When I say seller or buyer, it always is preceded by the word business seller or business buyer. So I clip it to seller or buyer. But I will follow up. I will meet with the seller. I will meet with the buyer. I will talk with the seller about their business in detail, how much money is being made, what kind of products or services they are offering, how much they want for the business, and I will help them value that. One thing on the valuation, there are no comparables as there are in real estate. Now, I know comparables today in this goofy economy where you have short sales, foreclosure, and that, the comparables have been, I mean, they're crazily skewed, so they really don't have much meaning. However, you do have tax records to go by and things like that, wherein when you're doing a business valuation, you do not have those resources at your fingertip. So you have to look at each business on a case-by-case scenario, figure out how much money they are making. When I say they are making, they're bringing home. Whether it be an individual or a partnership or whatever, that's the key aspect of what you can sell your business for. Also, I have a large, or I'll call it a tome book, that has every type of business listed in it. I call it my valuation Bible. It has industry experts in those particular areas. For instance, if you got a Chick-fil-A franchise, industry experts will give you some tips as to how that business should be valued, what it's worth in the marketplace. So we go through all of those steps, and it's not time-consuming, but it is detailed-oriented. So we sit with the seller and help them try to arrive at a marketable sell price. Now, of course, everybody wants as much as they can get out of it, and we take that into account. We also put our commission as part of the sell price, and so those are the things that go into that. On a buyer, I want to know exactly what they're looking for. Many times a buyer doesn't know. They know that they have ready cash. They may have retired early. They may have been downsized out of a job. They have been fired or whatever. But they would like to come and buy a business and become their own manager, their own owner, their own boss. And usually they come to the table with ready cash. It may not fulfill the asking price, but they come to the table with cash. I will interject this, but I'm not going to go into detail. Getting a bank loan today is almost non-existent. It depends on the bank. It depends on how much money the buyer has in ready cash. And when I say a bank loan, 90% of bank loans for a business are backed up by the SBA. And it is extremely difficult to get a bank loan to buy a small business. A business seller usually has to agree to finance a portion of that business. It's almost like a for sale by owner, even though a business broker is involved. So that's the type of advice that we give to both the seller and the buyer. Now, once you make that referral, keep in mind, seller and or buyer, then if that deal closes, thank you, Liz. When the deal closes, we charge 10% commission for our brokerage services. That's anything above $100,000. We get 10% of the final sale price. Now, as the sale price goes up, we're getting a couple $1 million worth of valued business. We may put our commission on a sliding scale, meaning that we slide down. We go from 10 to 8. We never, ever drop below 6%, and I know you know what that figure means. But we always try to stay at least 2% above real estate commissions and or higher. We also charge a minimum. That's for sales that are at $100,000 or less. We get $10,000 for our services. I'm going to use what we've been doing over the last 4 years. Our average business sale price is around $600,000. For example, agent-owned, the agent-owned will receive 20% of the commission that Sunbelt gets. Going back to the $600,000 example. At a $600,000 sale price on a 10% commission, Sunbelt's brokerage fee is $60,000. That comes to us at closing. Of that 6%, if a referred seller is part of the deal or a referred buyer is part of the deal, agent-owned will receive a check from Sunbelt for $12,000. That is your part of the referral fee commission. If a Sunbelt agent or if two Sunbelt agents bring both buyer and seller to the same deal, when that closes, that commission doubles to 40%. So you double your $12,000, that's a $24,000 check written on the day of closing to agent-owned. And that check is made to AgentOwned Realty Company, not the individual agent. The reason for that is simple. Number one, it's administrative. It holds down on the amount of 1099s that have to be reported at year's end to the IRS. Plus, I think each of you are on some kind of commission arrangement with agent-owned, so that becomes part of your deal with agent-owned. So, I couldn't. Okay, I was just informed that's also the law. So it's the law. Okay, so that's the way the commissions are passed out. Actually, I'm getting a little ahead of the slides here. So now I would like to tell you about a new service that we just added, and it's a co-listing service. When this alliance was first envisioned, it was set up to be purely a referral service, okay? And the referral, the example I just went over, that's for a referral. All you have to do as the agent owner is to come to me and say, Bobby, I think I got a lead for you, and then you can step aside. I'll go check it out, make sure we can do the listing. I'm not telling you every listing can be done, but we've been pretty successful in the leads that we've gotten. Not all businesses, unfortunately, are sellable, or it may be too late in their business life. and I'll give you a quick example on that. There was a terrific gift shop up in Sumter, and unfortunately the buyer was on the verge of bankruptcy, and tremendous line. I mean, a beautiful little store, all this type of stuff. Unfortunately, he waited too long to sell the business, and by the time I actually took the listing, we went through it, but I only had it for 60 days because he had to make a decision to extend his lease, and he made the decision that he could not afford to extend the lease. He got caught up in the so-called non-recession that we've been through and still on the verge of. So just didn't have time. And ironically, I didn't take the listing down right away, which I should have. My bad, as they say. And about 6 weeks later, I got a call from a lady wanting to know about that store, but the doors had already been closed. The reason I'm telling you that, it's hard to sell a company that's going bankrupt. That at that time it might want to be a fire sale, and you just sell off your existing equipment, whatever inventory you might have, and we don't get involved in that. It's got to be a going business. So I kind of deviated a little bit and got away from this slide, but let me tell you about this service. Pardon me a minute. This service was added in reaction to market conditions. One of the agents in the West Ashley office had a listing, and the listing is on MLS, so I'll be glad to give you more advice because it's out there in the public. It's for a marina up near Lake Marion, or on the shore of Lake Marion, not near. And it has a number of businesses on the property. Well, the agent had it for a 6-month period of time and had almost no one come look at it. So he went to his client, the seller, and suggested to him that he might want to parcel out some of the businesses on site and go through us to broker it. We can do two things. And he agreed. By the way, the seller agreed, thought it was a good idea. So the agent came to me. We went to see him. And the idea here was that the seller said, well, I can sell a portion of this, keep the other portion, and maybe the seller of this business, which is both a convenience hardware store and a restaurant combination, making daggone good money. They're making almost $4 million a year out of these two out of these two businesses. Got a good cash flow, as we call it. But we could also bring people to look at the rest of the marina, which also has businesses on it. We could do, I call it a come hither approach. Come look at this. You can't get behind that marina unless you pass these two businesses. So we linked arms, came up with this, and we call it co-listing, not co-broker, because everybody in the business broker seems to have heart failure every time you say co-broker. But we agreed to co-list this. There is another set of commission guidelines, or rules, if you will, that back this up, but they're too detailed to discuss right now, I'll be glad to talk with you about them and how we can work that out. So we're now doing that. We have had it listed, but keep in mind now, just like you, we cannot represent any business that we don't have listed. We don't have a listing contract. Just illegal. So I have to list this. I have to have a written agreement from the seller, naturally. It sounds like we all know that. Well, you got to have this agreement, and it's got to be on Sunbelt's listing agreement. But once that's done, like this seller has agreed to, then we now put it on all of our business for sale websites, which are both national and international. So you can see MLS, which is more regionally oriented. We go national and international. So that gets out on the websites. Then we have other media outlets through our network of brokers, both here in South Carolina and all over the United States. And we have other ways of putting the word out, but it goes to business buyers only. It's not real estate. It's not commercial property. It has to be a going business, and we attract those type of buyers. Like I said, this listing has been up for about 3 weeks. Since that time, I have had 4 individuals contact me by the web. One is from Arizona, one is from New York, one is from Illinois, and one is from Florida. So they're all out-of-state buyers. That's key because we've gotten out of that kind of silo that MLS puts you in. So it broadens your base and our base. And like I said, there's a different commission structure here on this particular service, but I'll be glad to explain it to you and discuss it with you. It just takes too long now, and even I get confused if I don't have the paper in front of me. But it's simple once you hear about it. All right, moving ahead, let me go to the bottom line, what this means. I think as envisioned and set forth in the mission statement, which I went through several minutes ago, we have developed, when I say we, AgentOwned and Sunbelt, has developed several new ways for you to make more money. It's that simple. More money in the bank. And after you make either the buyer or the seller referral to me, then you can spend as much time as you want to, or you can step aside and dedicate 100% of your effort to what you do best. That's selling homes, both new and used, and things like that. It's a totally new product for you to consider. You can rely on me and all of our dedicated professionals in the business broker business to help your seller value the business, like I told you. And it takes a lot of detail. You have to go through a lot of their finances to help them figure it out. We do the marketing through our websites, word of mouth, and through a totally different set of individuals, professionals dedicated to business brokering. And we work to close the deal. Here's the odd thing. People think we represent both the seller and the buyer. We do not. We represent the seller. We represent the lister. That is our client. We assist the buyer. There is no agent helping the buyer, and we have to gain their trust, but we represent the seller. We're legally bound to represent the seller, and that's the key thing. I'd like to close by saying this is a value-added service that you can take advantage of, but it requires you to be proactive, meaning that pick up the phone. Liz, you go to the last slide. Meaning that pick up the phone, call me at the number you see, 843-693-0065. You can email me at businessbroker@agentownedrealty.com. You can send a carrier pigeon to my house, but you got to call me first, and I'll give the address. But you have to contact me to make this work and make it a bona fide referral and to make it a bona fide co-listing. Now, I will tell you that I will close by saying this. I also go out on my own. I don't sit and wait. Don't sit on my hands and wait for you to come to me with a referral. I also go out and do drop notes, cold calls, follow-up leads I get from other individuals, etc., etc. But I'm dedicated to serving you once you contact me. That's my pledge. It's been great so far. Let's keep it going, and let's build on it. Thanks a lot. If you have any questions, please, you can type them in. According to my technician over here, you can type them in, and I'll try to answer them for you. Thank you very much.